This is October Solicits. I've not even glanced at them, so this is going to be a nice journey of discovery as we go down this list and see some covers and whatnot. First on the list is Batman issue 128. Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez. Pretty.
It's just more, yeah.
Yeah, pretty neat cover with the fire. Batman and Robin surrounded by flames.
A nice Ryan Sook variant as well.
Not bad.
There's quite a few nice variants. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Riddler Year One's been solicited. Now we knew this was coming. This is the Paul Dano written book.
Yeah.
Notable art on this though. Notable art, which is Sejic. Oh, sorry, it's not Sejic. Sorry.
No, it's not.
I read that as Sejic there.
That's why I was very confused as to why you were like, because it's notable, but not for reasons that I think you would care about, which is why I was surprised.
No, probably not. No, I saw what I wanted to see. I saw Stevan Sejic.
Yeah.
It's actually Stevan Subic, but I think you can understand why at a glance I was seeing another name.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. It's got a nice cover. Well, you know.
That's his art. That main cover is the interior artist.
Oh, that's a good sign because it's got a good kind of dark vibe to it. You know, it's yeah, I'm into it. Yeah. Not bad. Obviously, your preference or enjoyment of the movie version of Riddler is obviously.
Yeah. I didn't love that movie, and I really didn't love that take on Riddler. So I'm just hard skipping this.
It's kind of interesting to let him expand his character out into. Let's give his character more like his version of Riddler more backstory.
I'm not opposed to it existing, because I know obviously the movie was very popular with a lot of people, and I'm sure people like that version of the Riddler, but not for me.
Yeah, fair enough. So that's Riddler Year One starting in October. Batman One Bad Day Penguin issue 1. Again, we knew obviously these one shots were coming. This one's by John Ridley, Giuseppe Camuncoli on the art for this one. So
yeah, I like Camuncoli a lot. John Ridley is a name that obviously has a lot of prestige attached to him, but I've struggled to enjoy any of his comics so far.
I've been a little hit and miss. I've enjoyed a good portion of what I've read of his Batman stuff with Jace, but I also it kind of fell off for me where like I think the formatting of it jumping between all these different books was starting to really hurt it, and I kind of fell away from it. But
I think maybe just a one shot might play to its strengths. Pretty self-contained story, just like one issue.
I think a one shot, or which it is in this case, or like just a sort of completely self-contained miniseries, I think might be.
Yeah, because I tried. He did Other History of the DC Universe, which was a mini, which I really didn't kind of like very much. That wasn't issue.
That wasn't as much of a traditional comic, though, right? You said that had a lot of prose in it. Yeah, a lot of prose and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Next up, we got The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 1. I have no idea what this is. Let's have a good look here. Written by Matthew Rosenberg, art by Carmen DJ Domenico. Okay, so yeah, some names there. This does not say one shot or one of something though. Which...
this is a new ongoing, which is a kind of a sequel to the Tynan Joker that just wrapped up.
Yeah, I wonder if this is just like we're just going to start from number 1 again with a subtitle because we just want to make it clear it's the start of a new direction, new team, all the rest of it.
I think so. It does say it picks up from the end of that book.
Because this could have easily
I have no idea how that ended.
This could have easily just been like issue 16 or whatever was next.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Your creative team just, there's number 16.
Yeah, and this still has backups with Francavilla doing the backups, or at least the art. And I believe Francavilla did a lot of like the fill-in issues on that Joker series, like between arcs.
I did a few.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I say a lot of. There was only like 15 issues of the book, so probably only 2 or 3.
I think there was 2 total, but yeah. I was either 2 or 1 in an annual. I think it may have been 1 in an annual, but regardless, there's a nice Palermo cover in there. Well, it looks like a Bahamut. I didn't actually check to see if his name's in the list, but it looks like one.
I don't see Bahamut's name in the list.
Oh, I don't actually. It looks like Bahamut. You probably know what I'm talking about if you looked at them.
Oh, the third one, yeah.
It looks Bahamut-y. Oh, they're Bahamut, yeah. Variant covers by Lee Bahamut and David Nakayama.
Oh, fair. I missed that one because his name was buried with someone else's.
Yeah. So Joker effectively continuing,
and still $5.99.
They got away with it, so they're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
Next up, Punchline: The Gotham Game Issue 1. This is a 6-issue miniseries. So, this is written by Tini Howard and Blake Howard. I assume there's a relation between them.
I would assume so. Obviously, Tini Howard. We didn't really love her Catwoman.
No, it wasn't for me.
But maybe on some other books. I mean, Punchline's not exactly grabbing us, is it? Let's be honest.
Gleb Melnikov on the art here, at least for issue 1. Obviously, Melnikov.
Melnikov's a pretty solid workhorse. 6-issue mini. He can probably knock that out without any break.
I have to admit, I think Punchline's an alright character. I've enjoyed her presence in some of the main Batman stuff. Miniseries, I'm not sure I'm that fussed about. I think if it had a really enticing writer on it, not one that I'm just okay with. Oh, they're doing this book. Okay, I'm excited because of their name. Tini Howard and whoever Blake is, whether it's her husband, brother.
Says Blake Howard has worked on some stories in Urban Legends. I don't know which one, but yeah, people who are listening to this may well have read those stories and can be better informed than us.
Unless this is Axe Cop and Blake's actually her son, and it's a 6-year-old who's given all the plot, and she's just scripting it into coherence. Have you ever heard of that? There's a comic called Axe Cop, but that's basically what it was. It was a guy and his little brother, and his little brother would just tell him these ridiculous stories, and he'd be like, I'll turn it into a comic. I'll do it.
Yeah, I remember. It's not impossible, but yeah, Punchline. I like Punchline as a character in showing up in a Batman story, for example, or at most in a backup, a mini of her own. Not particularly compelling.
It almost feels like it's not just Batman as a corner now. Joker's got a corner, and Punchline's the secondary Joker book. That's kind of
Joker, Punchline, and Harley.
What it feels like, yeah. Speaking of Harlequin, the animated series Legion of Bats issue 1. This is a 6-issue miniseries. Obviously, it's tied to the animated series because it's in the title. Written by T. Franklin and art by Shea Beagle.
Yeah, I guess the Eat, Bang, Kill mini that they did must have sold pretty well for them to just immediately be let's do more.
I imagine it's got a small but dedicated audience that will keep coming back for more, and a lot of variants, and it's the type of audience that probably buys one of every cover.
Quite possibly. I really like the first cover. The other ones don't do much for me.
The arcade one's alright as a kind of a jokey one. Yeah, I'm not really into all the ones after that though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. Next up, Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 1. Is this related to the video game?
It is. This is a prequel story. So the premise of that game, for anyone not familiar, is Batman is dead. This is his last case before he died. I doubt he dies in the story, but it's the last case.
Yeah, if anything, I suspect discovering how he died may be part of the plot of the game. That'll it'll come up at some point in the game.
Yeah, it does sound sort of interesting because it's half it is modern day Gotham, and it also has stuff in Gotham in 1847 as well.
Oh, interesting. And I feel sick, saying this because it reminds me of all these Apex Legends, get a code from your can of Monster bullshit. But
yeah, well, we already had this with all the Fortnite comic crossover, didn't we?
But each issue will come with a code for Gotham Knights players to redeem for an exclusive in-game item. I want to vomit in my mouth, thank you. And for a record, I say this as someone who cares about video games. I play video games, and I am disgusted by this as a video game player more than I am a comic book reader. I just want to be that clear.
Yeah,
this is not I'm a comic book snob who's these video games are infecting my comic books. I play video games.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the creative team on this.
Oh yeah. It's so the writer's Evan Narkis, maybe, yeah. And then art by Abel, just one word, Abel. So
I'm not familiar, but I mean, this isn't inherently a bad mini. It could be kind of fun.
No, it could be a completely fine thing that just happens to be tied to the game. I wonder if these names, particularly the writer, I wonder if that's someone who's actually on the writing team for the game, maybe, or something like that, and that's why we don't recognize them, because they're not traditionally a comic book writer.
I just googled the name. Is an American comic book writer, journalist, and video game narrative designer, which means probably.
Okay, so yes, narrative designer, which is a fancy word that means writer.
Yes, he was responsible for writing some lines on the Spider-Man game, the last one, and narrative design consultant on the Miles spin-off.
That's interesting. I remember, because I remember I actually read the 6-issue mini they did when Arkham City came out, a good decade ago now.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was alright for what it was. It wasn't a must-read by any means, but it was perfectly fine.
It was as perfectly acceptable as half the other Bat books that are published every month.
So, there you go. That's Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City Issue 1. There we got Gotham City Year 1, Issue 1. And, this is a biggie. Tom King writing, art by Phil Hester and Eric Gapster. And this is a very Tim Sale looking front cover, actually, as well. Looking at it.
Yeah, well, that's Phil Hester as well. It's like that.
I suppose, but I just, I associate that look with, Long Halloween and stuff like that. I want to read the description of this one. Let's have a look at this. This is a 6-issue miniseries for the record. There was one shining city in the water, a home for families, hope, and prosperity. It was Gotham, and it was glorious. The story of its fall from grace, the legend that would birth the Bat, has remained untold for 80 years. That's about to change. Superstar creators Tom King and Phil Hester team up for the first time to tell the definitive origin story of Gotham City. You know what's intriguing about this is that I like the idea that this shouldn't really have any Batman in it. Maybe they'll be there to bookend it with some narrative, bookends or something.
I don't think so.
But
to be honest.
But I kind of like the idea of it just being about the city. That's kind of so how it became a cesspool of violence and corruption it is today, and this is all very interesting.
It's a Slam Bradley book, basically.
I also, and I expect you'll probably get some Waynes, if not his parents, then maybe his grandparents.
Yeah, it's just 2 generations before Batman, so
yeah, grandparents. There you go then.
Yeah.
Maybe some Cobblepotts, maybe some what's Hush's family name again?
Elliot,
there you go. Maybe some Elliots. Some Canes, of course. Martha's family. Yeah.
It could hit some similar vibes to like Gates of Gotham.
I could see that, yeah.
Which I actually quite like that mini.
That variant's quite nice as well.
The Sook or the Marquez?
They're both good, but I think I'm looking at the Marquez, just the purple sort of in the rain in the background. And
I don't recognize that one.
Well, it looks like the Waynes at the bottom, but I don't know if it is the Waynes, but it looks like the Waynes with a baby.
No, I think that is Marquez. Yeah. That's a nice cover. Honestly, it has 3 very nice covers. I'm a little bit cynical that first off, this does not mean that it won't be a good story. I'm sure Tom King has a perfectly fine, Slam Bradley noir kind of set. What I'm assuming is going to be like 40s or 50s sort of kind of story. As a premise, perfectly fine. Really cynical with them calling it Gotham Year 1 because, really, it's a little bit. I just feel like the marketing angle on that name, if any, which I get, but I really feel it being cynical with. It's not even Year 1 for a character anymore. It's just Gotham.
I kind of like it.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean...
Maybe it's just me.
Well, I mean, like, DC have these terms that they come back to, they have their rebirths, they have their crises, they have their, the Year 1s, and honestly, it's kind of refreshing that it's not a character Year 1, it's something else. It's, I don't know. I mean, I always think of Gotham as a character in of itself, it's always, that's what people say. So, I don't know, I think it's kind of neat.
Yeah, fair enough.
And
I
Tom,
love it further into the description. There will be Waynes.
Tom King, when it comes to lesser characters, B-list, C-list, whatever Slam Bradley counts as, probably a bit further
generous,
down. Yeah. That tends to be where Tom King shines in a miniseries, so I am hopeful and optimistic for this.
I would say I'm glad. Probably glad it's only 6 issues. In terms of Tom King minis, I think a lot of them they can get a little bit overlong sometimes.
I completely disagree. I don't think any of them have been, but that's, whatever. Oh, Batman Catwoman. But, I mean, that's kind of a weird case, because it's like the end of his awkward Batman run. Okay, Killing Time's been fun. Me and Matt have both enjoyed Killing Time.
Which is notably, I think, only a 6-issue one, right?
But it's very different to his other books, so we'll see where this one falls into. Next up, Batman Incorporated issue 1. Oh, I'm ready to yawn already. Ed Brisson writing with John Timms on the art. Let's see what the description says. This obviously the broad idea of what Batman Incorporated is not that hard to get, but if there's any like particular lineup or whatever. For the Pages of Batman comes an all new, all exciting adventure for Ghostmaker and his Batman Incorporated team. Oh yeah, I can't wait. The team's trust issues and detective skills are immediately put to the test when someone from Ghostmaker and Batman's recent past is brutally murdered. What, Clown Hunter?
I would suspect not, given that Clown Hunter is on the team.
Okay. Is it an isolated event sending a message, or is it an isolated event, sorry, or sending a message to the two? Or is this the start of something darker and more sinister? Hint at sinister and dark. Very good, very witty. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Batman Incorporated as a concept. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of Ghostmaker as a character. So
I'm open to Batman Inc. I like previous incarnations of it. This one that we kind of set up at the end of Williamson's Batman stuff that we had. I know there was an annual that I don't think any of us actually read, because we saw it was Ghostmaker, Ed Brisson, Batman Inc. set up, and we were all kind of just out on that from the premise, I think. So I don't think anyone else actually read it, but yeah, this isn't surprising.
No, I mean, I'd say I'd give issue 1 a try, but the fact that it was maybe set up in that annual, and I may already feel behind.
Yeah, I feel like it's a case of, if you enjoyed that annual, you'll probably enjoy this book. I mean, it would stand to reason anyway.
Maybe. Also, Clown Hunter on that cover, it looks like he's suddenly like 22 versus like 12 that he was up until recently.
I don't know. I think it looks old.
Okay, he looks like at least a foot and a half taller. Look at him.
I mean, I think that's just a weird perspective thing, but sure.
He was a child.
He was like 15, 16.
He was a child in that Batman run. No. Next up, GCPD, The Blue Wall, issue 1. This is another 6-issue miniseries, obviously another Gotham-based book. Written by John Ridley, art by Stefano Raphael. This is interesting. Still relatively early in her tenure as GCPD Commissioner, Renee Montoya sets to rebuild her department and restore public faith in the historically troubled PD during some of the worst conditions it's ever seen. But Renee can't do it alone. In order for her to plan to work, everyone from the upmost officials, all the way down to the most fresh-faced new officers must contend with the harsh realities of being a symbol of law and order in a city of superpowered saviors and superhuman lawlessness. This is interesting.
It sounds like a spiritual successor to...
It says Gotham Centrally, yes.
Yeah.
I'm all for this. In fact, this is the sort of thing that I think is more exciting to see John Ridley's name attached, because I feel
he
like...
probably has very strong opinions on this stuff.
Sure, yeah, but like more just because what I liked about his writing was more the characters rather than the superheroics of it. So the idea that you're just giving him a book with like the regular people,
I'm
kind of into that. This is a nice little surprise in the Solicits here.
Yeah.
listen to Tom King book. I'm like, okay, that's a couple of interesting new little miniseries starting in October. All right, okay, very good. So yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, moving on. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 5. Yeah, there was an announcement this week that they're actually altering the title of the event halfway through. So, I mean,
apparently this was the title the whole time. They just didn't want to spoil it.
I mean, people are going to call it Dark Crisis just for short anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. But, yeah, okay, not much to really say.
Yeah, I'm already kind of out on the event anyway, and this just makes me more cynical and out on it more. I've been reading it because there was a promise of some certain characters showing up, and now I feel like I'm forced into reading it, but I'm not enjoying it.
I've been enjoying the event. I liked the first 2 issues. So did Matt, for what it's worth. The title change I just don't really care about. It's just kind of a weird gimmick.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But yeah. I will say a couple of wonky faces on that cover. Just I'll just mention that and move on. Dark Crisis, The Deadly Green, issue 1. This is Joshua Williamson, Dan Waters, Ram V, and others, which I assume means it's going to be a bunch of shorter stories in this one shot.
Probably.
So this is another tie-in. I don't think this was one that we knew about before. I think this is like one that
no, this was announced.
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting Superman and Swamp Thing uncovering the secrets of the Great Darkness. So it seems like an interesting enough tie-in, I suppose. I can't deny that, like Ram V, Dan Waters, there's some names there that are of interest. Definitely. So, yeah. So an extra tie-in one-shot in October. It's a 48-page book. So cool. Similarly, Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League, Green Arrow, issue 1. This is Stephanie Phillips and Clayton Henry doing this one. It's another one of these one-shots slash... because it's like one-shots, but there's 6 of them, so it's kind of a 6-issue mini is really, if you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
So that's the October one. Yep, moving on. Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 5 of that mini tie-in. There you go. So obviously that's all the Dark Crisis stuff bundled together.
We're
as
doing
you expect.
Mxyzptlk's son, apparently.
And Young Justice. Fair enough. Flashpoint Beyond issue 6.
Oh my god, is that still going?
It is still going.
Finished by then.
And it is a glorious train wreck.
Are you still reading it?
Me and Matt basically came out of issue 3 going, I think I'm really excited to read this every month now. Not because it's necessarily good, but it's got something. It's got something. It's got something. It keeps just throwing more wacky shit into it. Like, it completely retconned what Krypton's history was, and I'm like, wait, how did Barry saving his mum affect like what Jor-El was doing?
What? What the hell is this book?
Exactly.
Okay, I can't argue with that logic, I suppose. I read enough nonsense like that.
So, yeah, I think me and Matt are both in for the long haul.
All the way till October.
Yeah, and this is the end of the long haul because this is issue 6. And the Flashpoint Beyond trade or hard trade, is solicited here as well. So
was there not a point where Flashpoint Beyond was meant to be coming out like every 2 weeks when they announced this?
Like originally, it was like every 2 weeks, and then
I think that's why in my head I'm like, oh, is that still going? Like, I thought it was meant to be done.
They changed that before issue 1 even came out, though. It wasn't.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it wasn't like a sudden shock after issue 1. It was like before issue 1 even came out. It was like, no, this is just a monthly comic now.
Oh, okay.
So that's that. And then they've also got a Death of Superman 30th Anniversary Edition coming out. Hardcover. It's kind of a weird sell, this, because I think you're better getting the Omnibus, which has the whole story. But
probably, but maybe if they're going to release other deluxe editions as well, like.
Sure.
The next part of the story. This isn't a bad option because some people prefer deluxe editions to Omnis because they're more manageable to read.
Sure, but that's only if they do deluxes of the next 2.
Yeah.
If they don't, then it's just kind of a weird standalone thing that doesn't have an ending. Superman Son of Kal-El issue 16, so we're on to the sort of the regular monthlies now, after all the new stuff and the event stuff.
Clark return.
Yes, they announced that this week. This is Kal-El Returns Part 2. I assume Action Comics will be Part 1, which... Oh, that's Part 3. What's Part 1 in?
It must have been in the previous ones, but maybe they didn't name it because they didn't want to tell us.
Yeah, maybe they were trying to hide it for spoiler's sake.
Interestingly, at the end of the Son of Kal-El solicit, Lex Luthor sets his deadly machinations in motion towards the Martial Action Comics 1050. So,
yes.
A big thing for that issue, I guess, and kind of that's going to matter to both books.
Yeah, it's still Taylor writing Son of Kal-El, but yeah, there's clearly some work together going on here in the two Superman books. And this is Action 1048 that's solicited here, so it's only 2 months, so it'll be December is when 1050 hits. And I assume it'll be an oversized issue, and they'll do
they've been doing that on all the 25s and 50s for most books.
Yeah. It won't be the, because I'm sure 1100 will maybe not 100 pages, but I'm sure it'll be really hefty.
Yeah, that said, because now we're back to monthly, we got a good few years till that happens.
True, yeah. But, yeah, so I really like that cover for Action, actually. The sort of painted. Yeah, he's flying towards the camera, as it were.
Oh, look at that. There's a Black Adam movie variant. I didn't have to read the description to know. I flicked through it. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Can you smell what Teth Adam is cooking?
I guess that's coming out around this time. I don't actually know when it's coming out anymore.
I think it is October, it sounds right.
Yeah. I kind of lost track with it. Everything getting different dates all the time.
Speaking of new deluxe edition, Superman Birthright's getting a deluxe, and isn't it interesting that Mark Waid just started doing work at DC again, and now one of his stories is getting a deluxe? It feels like bridges have been mended here.
Sure, but this was always prime for deluxe. I'm surprised it didn't have one already, unless it did and it's just out of print.
I don't think it had a deluxe. It had like just a nice not even a hardcover. It was just a paperback it had.
Yeah, I've got the paperback for sure.
But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Didio was like not doing it out of spite before, and now
possible. I'd pick up a deluxe of this. It's a perfect story for here's a single contained
12 issue
book, with some nice little UR.
It's a story that Man of Steel claimed it was kind of adapting, but obviously completely missed the point. Much like Zack Snyder's other comic book adaptation, Watchmen.
What we're saying is it adapted it for the trailer.
Yes. So there you go. Wonder Woman Historia, the Amazons issue 3 is finally coming out in October.
Yep. I believe. I think Kelly Sue won an Eisner for this, and I know Jimenez, who did the first issue, won an Eisner for that issue last night as we record this.
I didn't look up the Eisners, but I did see that Nightwing didn't win any of its nominations.
It didn't. Tynan won Best Writer, I believe, overall.
Oh, okay.
Which that's good. Pretty fair.
Love with it. They're doing a complete collection of Wonder Woman Earth 1, so that'll be all 3 volumes of that in one big soft cover.
It's a shame it's a soft cover, but I mean, it's a pretty nice collection still, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I've not read these, so I don't know if maybe it does end in a cliffhanger or something. There's going to be more, but it kind of feels like putting this book out is kind of saying, yeah, this is going to be all of it. This is it now.
Probably. Yeah. But 3 volumes isn't terrible. That's a respectable amount. It's all Morrison and Paquette, so it'll be very consistent. So,
as has been the tradition the last few years, October gets the big horror-themed one-shot, the 80-pager. And this year's is called DC's Terrors Through Time. We got Paul Levitz, Carla Pacheco, Jeremy Hahn, Tim Seeley, Zach Thompson, and others writing, with Peter Wen, Juan Doe, Kelly Jones, Andy McDonald, and more on the art. So obviously it's going to be an anthology book. It looks like there's some Super Sun shenanigans. It's going to be them kind of maybe, I don't know, acting as storytellers or...
It tells you zombies with the JSA in the 40s, Gotham City Sirens in the 90s, Swamp Thing in the future, and presumably other things. But
there's a really cool VHS cover. It's like an old.
Speaking of VHS covers, did you see the Superman 78 Deluxe?
No.
So obviously, they didn't like announce this beforehand, but under the dust jacket, obviously, a lot of books it's just plain black, whatever. But sometimes you'll have some nice art printed on it as well. They've essentially done it as a VHS tape underneath the dust jacket, and it looks really good.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. DC Horror presents Sergeant Rob versus the Army of the Dead, issue 2. I don't think you were here for Solicits last month, but this is Bruce Campbell writing this baby.
Yeah, I remember reading about this. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah. So
interesting as well that not even like a co-writer or anything.
No, just him.
Which is what you usually see in these scenarios.
He's like, no, I can just do this, and it's like Army of the Dead is legally distinct from Army of Darkness, so no one can sue him. So there we go. Next up, Deceased: War of the Undead Gods. This is issue 3 of 8 of the final Deceased story. So not much to say. Obviously, we're looking forward to it. It's not started yet. Static: Shadows of Dakota, issue 1. This is a new 6-issue Static mini with Nicholas Draper, Ivy, and Alea on writing, with Draper Ivy on art. So yeah, cool. Thing.
I guess they're still continuing the milestone books.
Yeah, I've been pretty committed to having a couple of books out consistently.
Yeah.
So we got Batman versus Robin issue 2. This is the Mark Waid book, which is loosely connected to World's Finest, which actually we can talk about a bit more today when we talk about the book, because it actually has a little teaser for this in it this week.
Yeah.
So
I'm not big on Asrar's art. I have dropped books in the past because I've not enjoyed his art that much, which is very disappointing for me personally coming into this. But we'll see.
I don't remember if I felt particularly strongly.
I don't know if he's been on any DC books. So I don't know if you'll have read anything.
Yeah, I feel like I'll be too into Mark Waid's writing to I'll complain if the art's bad. Don't get me wrong, or if it's not to my taste. But it would have to be pretty. I never dropped Action when JRJR was on it. And there was temptation.
I would have dropped it when JRJR was.
There was temptation.
Even let's put the Bendis question aside for a moment. If I'd had to sit through that many issues of JRJR, I would have dropped that so fast.
Yes,
one issue I'd have been like, if it was a 1-issue fill-in, sure you struggle through it. 2 issues maybe, but 3, 4, 5, 6 issues. Oh no, that's going.
Worth mentioning as well, this is a 5-issue mini, this Batman versus Robin, and it's 48-page each issue, so it's an interesting format. They're going for 5 bigger issues rather than typical 6 normal ones or whatever. So
5 bigger issues, probably closer to
8, maybe
8 to 10. Yeah, get in that range.
The Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 1. I guess they're starting that up again. We got Batgirls issue 11. Neil Googe on the art for this issue, with the usual writing team. So
Googe isn't terrible.
See how that is. I can be a little hit and miss in Googe, depending. I remember he did some Flash issues that I really didn't like that much. I don't think he suited Flash at all, but
yeah, but this sort of book, which is pretty stylistic anyway, because Corona's got pretty distinctive style, might fit a bit better.
So we'll see. Batman Nightwatch issue 2. I forgot this from last month. Clearly.
Yeah, I don't know what this one is, because that description is like nothing.
Yes, there's not a lot to it. So I'm just going to move on. But that's going there too. That's a miniseries. Batman Superman World's Finest issue 8, which is still going here. And Dan Moore is on the art, still here on issue 8.
He's finished with Once and Future now, so he's freed up.
I think there was I want to say there was a fill-in on one of the solicits, either for 6 or 7.
Probably.
But so that's why I'm saying, I'm happy to see Dan Moore's name there. Maybe he was on last month as well, and I've just forgotten. But all good. So no, interesting stuff. But yeah, Reckless Youth continues as Superman and Batman continue to mentor Boy Thunder. So we're playing with the Superman sidekick that he's doing a story about.
Okay.
I'm curious. Batman Beyond the White Knight issue 6, which is not the final issue. It's an 8-issue miniseries, so keep that in mind. But that's coming out.
Very nice Fiona Staples variant. I'll give it that.
October. Oh, I do like the stapler.
I
do like the stapler. Batman Fortress issue 6.
What the hell is going on in that book?
I do not know. It definitely looks like
I'm just looking at that cover. I'm like, what?
Some sort of crystal monster.
Like Crystal Doomsday.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe someone will make you read it, Connor.
If they do, I'm not reading all the other issues again.
That's only funnier, to be honest. Batman The Audio Adventures issue 2. So that's coming out. And then we got Batman The Night issue 10, so that's wrapping up in October. And the front cover, this is quite funny because I think I joked that it could end with the Yes Father I Should Become a Bat. And the cover of this,
might, yeah,
the cover of this is the bat coming through the window.
Also, that Federici variant is utterly phenomenal.
Oh yeah, pulling out the katana.
Yeah.
So no, good to see how he wraps that up. Batman Urban Legends issue 20 with stories by Jim Zub, Joey Esposito, Chris Burnham, and Nadia Shamas. So
some interesting names in there. Jim Zub, I don't think I've seen on a DC book in knows how long.
Yeah, he's one of those names that just pops up in random Marvel things, I feel.
He does like a lot of Marvel stuff. He did like some of those Avengers side books not so long ago. I think he's part of the writing team on the weekly Spider-Man that's been going on.
But I've never. Well, I stopped now, but
yeah. All right. Well, he was on that.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about a Jim Zub run though. Like, no one ever talks about.
He has a lot of creator-owned stuff.
Yeah. So.
That Batman Monster Hunter is what he's doing. Joe Esposito's got a new story start, a new 4-part story.
Oh, that's cool.
Chris Burnham again. I don't think of him much as a writer. I'm very familiar with his art, so that's kind of interesting. He's doing an Alfred saga, apparently.
Yeah. Next up, we got Black Adam issue 5. This is out of 12, of course. This series. It's a very colourful cover compared to the more the second cover, which may be the main cover. I mean, sometimes they swap them around. Is far more in style of what I expect from the covers in this, given all the previous covers. But cool. Then we got Black Adam, Just Society Files, Dr. Fate issue 1. They've had a few of these. Obviously, it's just cashing in for the movie, pretty much. Blood Syndicate season 1 issue 6. Which is the final issue of that miniseries coming out. Catwoman issue 48. Still Tini Howard.
It's Batman meeting the new lover, is what this issue is, by the sounds of it. It's still really nice covers, though.
His covers are still very nice, but I am glad I'm out.
Yeah. I don't blame you on that. But man, those covers.
DC vs. Vampires issue 10 with a pretty nifty cover, actually, with Huntress and Batgirl on it. But so that's 2 away from the end.
That's a Gillen March cover.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. So it's a surprisingly decent cover then from Gillen March.
Yeah.
It's not as scratchy as his usual work.
It's not, no.
Oh.
I wonder if this is what he can do when he takes some time and does, just a cover as opposed to rushing through a 20-page issue.
There's a different art form in a way, after all. So interesting. We got DC vs. Vampires All Out War issue 4, which has got Mary Marvel on the cover. And then we have DC Mech issue 4. So we'll be getting the first issue later this month, I think. So we'll see how this Mech, like, alternative to Jurassic League.
Tentatively hopeful for just not like a good book, but just something fun.
Deathstroke Inc issue 14 will be out. Ed Brisson on this with Dexter.
Yeah, he's been doing Deathstroke year 1. I don't know if either of you and Matt read the last issue, which was the first one after the Shadow War event.
I mean, I wasn't reading it anyway before, so I definitely didn't.
That's when this run started, which is why I didn't know if you jumped on to check it out.
No. I didn't even realize, to be honest. Detective Comics 1065. Obviously, this is still Ram V's run, which we're obviously very close to starting. That's next week,
I believe. Yeah.
And then we got Duo issue 6, which is the final issue of that. We have Fables 156, which is issue 6 of 12, which is really funny when it's issue 156, but I know what they mean by that, but it's still a bit weird. So, cool. Future State Gotham, issue 18. Final issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, Future State will have lasted a good couple of years by that point, right? Or was it only a year?
It was the start of last year, yeah.
Yeah.
It was January, February. So.
Yeah, I mean, not bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that's wrapping up with Dennis Culver in October. Then we got Harlequin issue 23. No, I don't much to say. I Am Batman issue 14 from John Ridley in October as well. Mad Magazine issue 28. Monkey Prince issue 7, which is... I've probably said this before, but is that an ongoing? Because I was looking for the, like, out of how many there, but no.
Yeah, I think it must be, because I don't see an out of.
Multiverse 18 Justice issue 5 is out on October, and that is an ugly cover, I have to say. Just there's some... I hate to be mean, but I'm just scrolling past it, and I'm like, oh, there's some weird body proportions going on here.
Yeah, it's not great. Especially when you look at the next cover, you got like the Stephanie Hands, like really gorgeous painted cover.
Oh, sure, yeah. But next cover down, though, is Nightwing issue 97, sorry, and that is gorgeous. Is this...
Oh, man. That is... Redondo is killing it with these covers. They're so
it's just
stylistic. They're all in the same sort of style of the city, right?
Well, I mean, this one's a plain white background, and you've got effectively the silhouettes of Nightwing and Batgirl in front, but in the silhouette you have like the lights of the buildings inside the city. But the one thing that's not in silhouette is like the yellow of her cape and the blue of his, like, you know, symbol and whatnot. So
yeah,
it's a very like
a
you
lot of his covers he's been
wall.
playing with the city and making characters out of the city or showing it, you know, like through them. In this case, it's been a consistent theme. Which
not only is it good looking, but it's also thematically very accurate to what the book's going for. So it's kind of a win-win in that sense. So
I like the third cover as well.
It's not bad, Poison Ivy issue 5 is out in October. Very good. Roots on the cover, so that's nice.
I did just think that as well.
Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Issue 118 is out in October. Superman issue 1 facsimile edition. So yeah, just a
sure, why not?
Yeah, Sword of Azrael issue 3 for all of Azrael's 12 fans. They get to enjoy more of this. I'm
still annoyingly tempted though, because Dan was, even though who cares about Azrael.
Yeah. And Nicola, last name unpronounceable, on art. Go on, give it a go. What? Why is there so many accents? What's the point of accents if every letter has an accent?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's like basically the same you want a second alphabet because every single letter has an accented variant. I critique it. Anyway, The Flash issue 787 is coming out.
Still Jeremy Adams.
Yeah, no, I'm just like the first part of this solicit. It says it's Monday night somewhere. Mondays, am I right? And the reason why I'm sort of doing a second take is because the cover is like in a wrestling ring, and I think it's actually a reference to the fact that Monday night is kind of considered a wrestling night. So I think that's an intentional thing.
Probably.
So yeah, you still have the Monday Night Wars and all that jazz. The Flash, The Fastest Man Alive, issue 2.
The lead into the Flash movie that no one wants to see anymore.
No one wants to see. Yes, and is now surrounded by controversy because the lead actor is up to all sorts of shenanigans. The Human Target issue 8. Super excited for this. Very nice cover, as they've pretty much all been. The variant's very nice as well. So, very good.
That's a nice variant, yeah.
Jurassic League issue 6, the final issue of our inaugural dinosaur Justice League. I say that because it wouldn't surprise me if there's like Jurassic League 2, the Lost Multiverse is coming.
Yeah. Assuming it sells reasonably well, I would not be surprised at all to see more of this. obviously it will be sales dependent, but it's an easy thing to, an easy concept to exploit for more.
Yeah. The new champion of Shazam, issue 3. This is of 4. This is the Doc Shaner drawn Mary Marvel becoming the main Shazam character story. Looking forward to it, might I add. Nice House in the Lake, issue 11, so the penultimate issue of that's out in October, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Then we got Tim Drake Robin issue 2, which I know Connor's so excited for. Oh, look at Tim Drake with that Rosmo head.
Ugly cover. Oh,
look at it. Look at his head.
Also, why has he got 2 bow staffs that are like, he's holding them like they're Christmas sticks, but they're like long, like they're almost bow staffs?
Well, they're just stretched out because it's, it's Rosmo stretched out art,
Oh, I hate it so much.
That's why all the male characters love Rosmo as an artist, because they all look well endowed with Rosmo drawing them. Admittedly, their foreheads and their chins also look well endowed, which is not ideal, but
I hate it so much.
Titans United Blood Pact issue 2.
It starts with saying Tim Drake is having the worst day. You're damn right, he is. Riley Rosmo's drawing it.
Wonder Woman 792. Coming out. We got sorry?
Still the same writing team. No change there.
It is, yeah. Young Justice Targets issue 4. It's coming out. Obviously that's the one that ties into the animated show. And then we got the collections, yeah. So we got Aquaman getting collected. We got Arkham City, Order of the World, the Dan Waters book being collected into softcover. Catwoman Volume 1, this is the first Tini Howard arc.
I'm glad they're at least just labelling it Volume 1.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no issues with that. Justice League Volume 2, United Order, this is the second Bendis hardcover, which ended up in quite a relatively short run, to be honest. I imagine there's only probably one more after that.
Yeah, because it ended just before 75 was not his issue, but it was 74 his last issue. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, one more after that then.
And then we got One Star Squadron, the Mark Russell book being collected. We got Rogues, which obviously we're one issue away from the end. Getting Solicits.
Getting a nice hardcover.
Yeah, I should expect. So that's very nice. Sleeper Omnibus, so reprinting Sleeper, which I've never read, but I've heard positive things about it. So Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Book. I own it all on Comixology. I should probably read it at some point.
Yeah. So it consists of a 5-issue mini, and then there's 2 Sleeper seasons. So there's Sleeper Season 1, which is 12 issues, and then Season 2 is 12 issues, then a couple of one-shots. So it's a really hefty overall thing. But that is cool. Superman the Authority, the Grant Morrison book, being collected in softcover. I assume that already had a hardcover, because it's been a while.
Maybe. Because it's usually a year between hardcover and softcover, so I don't think it's been that long. So I think maybe it's just straight to paperback. I could be wrong though.
I mean, Rogues is solicited here, and that's like not even finished yet.
Yeah, but also like that Bendis Justice League, that's the hardcover, and that's only the second one of those. So they're still like quite far behind on
that. Superman Son of Kal Volume 2. Doesn't really need much explanation. Other History of DC Universe is getting its softcover release. World of Krypton, which I forgot existed. We all dropped that after like the first issue, but there you go. Young Justice Book 6. That's the last thing here, but it's nice to see this is the Peter David run, and I'm always happy to see them sort of stick to these runs and finish them with these thicker
this is the
collections.
Final volume of that.
Yeah, I'd expect probably about there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's probably not cutting anything short. I don't know for sure without checking, but I'm perfectly willing to believe, this is where that run ended.
Probably, yeah. And then John's obviously is the next big run, which has already been collected in the bigger trades. So that's cool to see. So there you go. That is the solicits for October. There is actually a bit of sad news to tack onto this. There was a death this week in the comics industry. Alan Grant, who was a long-time Batman writer, died this week, so definitely worth mentioning out that.
He did a lot of stuff working for 2000 AD as well.
Yeah. So yeah, no, just definitely worth mentioning that as well.
There was another issue announced for December at Comic-Con. We're getting another Batman Spawn crossover. I think it's just a one-shot coming out in December. Yeah, Todd McFarlane announced it. Yeah, their first crossover since '94, which is surprising, but yeah, for fans of Spawn, which apparently there are lots of them. I've never met one, but apparently there are lots of them. Yeah, you get some more.